Hello investors, I'm Robbie with BDO Securities and welcome to the third video in our 4-part tutorial series. So far you know about BDO Securities fees, platform navigation, buying and selling a stock using the platform, even how to buy an IPO. But in this video, we're gonna actually find a stock to buy. So here's exactly what we're going over today. Today's video will focus on long-term investing. Because we're focusing on long-term investing in this video, we'll be finding a stock to buy and hold. We'll also be talking about dividend investing, and finally, we'll talk about risk management. So the first question is, what is long-term investing? At BDO Securities, when it comes to participation in the stock market, we break it down into two specific investment styles. So one of those styles is long-term investing, which is what we're talking about in this video. And the other is short-term trading, which we'll be talking about in the next video. Long-term investing is different than short-term trading. Long-term investors buy and hold stocks over longer periods of time. It can range from many months up to many years that a long-term investor would buy and hold a stock. For long-term investors in the stock market, there are two ways that you can grow your money. The first way long-term investors grow their money is capital appreciation. The goal with capital appreciation is to buy low and sell high. In this chart of the price movement of a stock, of course, it's always preferred to buy as low as you can and sell as high as you can. Now, it's not always as easy as it seems, but the goal of capital appreciation is to try to buy a stock for a lower price and sell it for a higher price. The other way that you can grow your money is via dividends. Now let's go back to the price chart that we looked at before, and let's assume that this is a 1-year time period that we're looking at. And let's assume that this company pays a dividend quarterly. Well, the first dividend, let's say, is 1 peso per share. So for every share of stock that you own in this company, you're going to get 1 peso during this 1 quarter. And over the whole year period, you're gonna get 4 different dividend payments, and it's gonna add up to 6 pesos for the entire year. So for every 1 share of stock you own in this particular company, over the year you would have earned a total of 6 pesos per share. So now you know there are 2 different ways to earn in the stock market, and what I want to do today is find a stock that both has good capital appreciation and that has a decent dividend payment. And remember, this is just educational. We're not recommending any stock to buy in this video. Now, because I'm trying to find stocks that pay dividends, I could invest in a regular stock or a regular company, or I could go with a real estate investment trust or a REIT that also trades on the stock exchange. Some examples of REITs that trade on the Philippine Stock Exchange include A-REIT, which is a real estate investment trust by Ayala Land, M-REIT, which is a Mega World REIT, and RCR, which is a Robinsons Commercial REIT. There are other REITs that trade in the Philippines. This is just a few that maybe you've heard of before. So what am I going to be looking for in the stock that I picked today? So first, I'm looking only at stocks that the BDO Securities analysts have a buy rating on. Next, I'm looking for a decent upside potential, and I'm also looking for a dividend yield of 3% or more. Now, these are just personal preferences for me. You may have your own preferences, but this is what I'm doing today for myself. In order to find this information, I only need to look at one report by BDO Securities, and that's called the Weekly Wrap. Now, there's 2 different ways I can find the Weekly Wrap. I can either go to my email and look at my investment ideas email that's emailed at the start of every week, and the Weekly Wrap is always attached inside this email. I could also log into my BDO Securities portal and click on the research icon. Once I'm in my research portal, I can just scroll down and I'll see the Weekly Wrap right here. Now remember, there are great reports put out by BDO Securities, but because I'm looking for a dividend paying stock, I prefer to use the Weekly Wrap. Now the Weekly Wrap is filled with a lot of great information, but because I'm looking for a dividend paying stock today, I'm gonna use the very last page of the Weekly Wrap. So this is the stock coverage page, the very last page of the Weekly Wrap, and I'm gonna use this to help me find a stock. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna only look for stocks that BDO Securities has a buy rating on. So as you can see, these are the different stocks that have buy ratings right now according to our analysts. I'm gonna go a little further now and look at the upside potential of these stocks. I personally would like to see an upside potential of 10% or more. And remember, this upside potential is based on a 12-month target price. In order to get to this upside potential, BDO Securities is taking the last trading price of the stock and seeing how much it would grow to get to the target price. And remember, this is a target price over the next 12 months. So it's not a short-term target price, it's a longer-term target price. Now the next thing, of course, because I'm looking for a dividend-paying stock or REIT, I'm looking for the dividend yield. My personal preference is to have a dividend yield that's higher than 3%. So now let's see what we have. First, we have Aboitiz Equity Ventures, which is ticker symbol AEV, and the stock does have a buy rating by the BDO Securities analysts, but the upside potential is a little bit lower than I would prefer. It also has a dividend yield that's 2.2%, which is also a little bit lower than I want today, so I'm going to move on to the next stock. Next is Aboitiz Power Corporation, which is ticker AP. This has a buy rating as well, but it has an upside potential of 37.7%. So I definitely like the upside potential of this stock according to the 12-month target price of the analysts. And it has a great dividend yield of 3.8%. This stock meets all of my expectations, so this is going to be the stock I buy today. But I do want to point out that, for example, a REIT right here, which is a real estate investment trust, is also on the list. But it's neutral. It has an upside potential of negative 0.4%, so not too high, but it does have a great dividend yield of 5%. Now, before I go into my equity trading portal and purchase this stock, I do want to talk about dividend yield. So if you're investing in dividends and looking to find dividend paying stocks, dividend yield is an important metric to use. Now remember, dividend yield is easy to calculate. All you need to do is take the annual dividend paid by a company and divide it by the stock price. So for example, let's say we have a company named Lumpia Land Inc. If Lumpia Land Inc. has an annual dividend of 4 pesos per share, and it's selling for 100 pesos per share, then Lumpia Land Inc. dividend yield is 4%, which is simply a 4 peso dividend divided by the stock price of 100 pesos per share. So next we'll discuss risk management. When it comes to long-term investing, one of the most important ways to manage your risk is by diversification. Diversification is like the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If all of your money is in one stock and that stock has a problem, you could lose a lot of money. But if your money is in 10 stocks or 20 stocks, your risk is spread out between those different stocks. So you don't want all of your risk in just one stock if you're long-term investing. So then the question is, how many stocks should you own? Now this will of course depend on you and your risk tolerance, but many people have a portfolio of 10 stocks or more to have some diversification. So if you had 100,000 pesos to invest and you invested in 10 different stocks, then you would invest 10,000 pesos in each of those stocks. And what's great about having a 10,000 peso minimum in this example is that it's more than the 8,000 peso minimum that we discussed in our fee video. If you remember, buying a stock for more than 8,000 pesos allows you to have a more competitive fee. So now I know the stock I'm going to be purchasing, we're going to assume I have 100,000 pesos in my account and I'll be buying 10,000 pesos of stock in AP. So now I'm logged into my BDO Securities account. I'm going to click trade. I'll click the buy button here. I'll be buying ticker symbol AP, so I will add AP here as the stock. Because I'm purchasing a stock, I'm going to look at the ask price here, 31.45000. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a buffer so that this trade executes today. So I'm going to go with 31.6000. So I'll type in 31.6000. I'll change my quantity to 200. It's a little bit less than I want to spend on this trade, so I'm going to go just toggle this up to 300, and now that's closer to what I want. 9,480 will be the total amount of this trade, and the total for commission and fees together will be 27.49 pesos. So now I'm good with the trade. I'm going to go and click buy. So that's all we have for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're a long-term investor, if you're a dividend investor, I really hope this helped you understand how to use BDO Securities to find stocks to buy. Don't forget to watch the 4th video in our tutorial series about short-term trading, and I'm confident by the end of that video, you're going to be prepared to buy your very first stock. So, good luck trading this week.